Oh man, what a trip. It's hard to even begin where to start on this race, to be honest. How many bags do you need just to carry on? Is that gonna fit? Is that gonna fit?
One bag for each sport and transition.
I was waiting for you to know that video where the lady throws the trash bag over her shoulder and then like... In true Rachel fashion, I of course arrived at the gate 1 minute prior to boarding, which is my ultimate goal in life, so I don't have to sit and wait. It causes a little bit of stress, but it's fine. Made it. Oh, Brian's ordering us all the good food. Look at go. This light is blinding now. Sweating. No AC in here.
Creo que sí le vamos a hacer.
Oh boy. Will we break something? Oh. Ryan, are you gonna survive after this?
Carbs all day. What do you think about Cozumel?
What?
Oh wait, wrong place. Campeche.
Like that seems to be just as dangerous as
Campeche. On your knees. Keep going straight.
choices. Gotta figure out which one's gonna hold the ice the best.
Triathlon.
Oh, okay.
Water.
Water.
The water of Mexico.
Looks.
We need to sign this waiver thing. Oh god. I've done a really bad job of documenting, but previous dinner time. Kaylin cooked us our pasta and chicken. I'm making a mocktail with my carbonated water and my electrolyte. Ready to go. Race day. It's super weird to wake up and not have to rush through things, but still, nerves are there anyway. So I'm going to have my little bit of nutrition and start breakfast number 1. My hair looks great. But it's only actually like 7:45 right now. I am uploading a video to YouTube. Alright, this is where the race footage ends, begins, whatever, but not taking anything down. We have like 3 hours to start now. I'm gonna go drop our run nutrition and then get the shuttle down to the start. See you guys after. Oh, 3. Cheers. Not too bad. Sunrise, flight out.
Not like more exhausted.
I don't know. I slept maybe 3 hours. I'll give this race a 1.5 out of 10 only because I made money. Honestly, will not be coming back. Full report coming next after I sleep for 12 hours. Back home in Boulder. It's already Wednesday. I will say that before I get into all the madness that was the race itself, everyone who has done the race before had really good things to say about it. So I don't know if it was just this year or, you know, what the case was for that. But the last time they had this race was in 2020. It was the last race kind of before the world shut down for COVID. And it was a different course then, different bike course. Not only that, but our Airbnb host said that for the week that we were there and the weekend that we were there, it was 5 to 10 degrees Celsius hotter than normal. That's quite a big difference. Like 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, still a lot, but 5 to 10 degrees Celsius is a pretty huge jump in temperature range from what it normally is. And on race day, normally it's super windy there. And I had heard about like gusty winds and it was pretty hard. And it was like the days leading up to race day was super windy, really gusty. On race day, it actually was not. It was relatively calm, which means the heat was just freaking baking, you know, out on the highway on the bike. So that's just all a little context prior to the race. And overall, like, we did have a good time. You know, it wasn't totally horrible. I think that in hindsight, there were a lot of things I would do differently. Get a car, because the pool that they were supposed to have open was closed. So trying to find a place to swim, you like couldn't really swim in the ocean right there. There was just a lot of walking in the days before the race, and I don't think I took the time to really take care of my body after the travel. The travel there was actually pretty hard, really long. We had a long layover. It's not very comfortable, so I kind of felt tired in the few days leading up to the race, and yeah, it was just a lot of movement, and I think that definitely affected me. But everybody came here to get the scoop on the actual race recap, so here we go. So you do have to drop your bike and run gear the day before. It is a split transition. Thankfully, they allowed us to drop our run nutrition morning of the race, so that was super nice. But yeah, we had to ride our bikes down there, down to the swim start, drop them, and we got a nice group to take us back in a van. That came in clutch because there were no taxis. So, day of the race, again, we started at 12:55, and I thought I would be excited for an afternoon start. You get to sleep in, and to be honest, I will not take for granted a morning start again, because that was actually really difficult. I still woke up, I mean, at like 7, had my first breakfast, but then you just sit in your head for so long. You have to go pretty early still to the race site. We had to get our run stuff in by like 10:30, and then get the bus down to the swim start. You have to wait a pretty long time at the race site, which the race site for the start is beautiful. Like, it's a great little place, but slowly the sun starts to come out over the top of like a parking garage or a building, hotel. So you lose the shade and you're just like trying to hide for, you know, a couple of hours. And I've never seen so many tires being changed and everything, from tires exploding. So don't overinflate your tires. Get some tubeless. It's a lifesaver. Yeah, the swim start, we had like a little bit of a warm up, which was good. Whenever the men went off, they like didn't give them any sort of warning. It was just kind of like, boom, gun, go. And so when they called us up and lined us up, there's an official. I went far right because our first turn buoy was on the right. And I asked him, he spoke English, said, are we gonna get a 30-second warning, 1-minute warning, any warning at all? And he said, no, nothing. You just go when we say. So I should have known that that was like a sign of things to come, but at least I was prepared. At any given moment, they would just do the horn and we would go. It's a very short beach start. I don't really like beach starts. I'm much better in water. But got out very quickly on my own, swam hard to the first buoy. I knew I already had a gap there, but tried to still push to the second buoy, which was 800 meters, and then started to settle in from there. But I realized one of my first mistakes of the day, and most costly, I think, was I left my 500 milligrams extra of electrolyte mix at home before we left. Thankfully, before we got on the bus, I was able to buy like a 300 milligram electrolyte drink, but still, I needed all like 300 and 500. So more than halfway through the swim, my right foot starts cramping. And thank God, at least I'm alone by myself, but I'm trying to like get it to release, which as soon as you do that flexing motion, you kind of make like a stop for yourself. So lost a little bit, I feel like, just by trying to get that to release. Came out of the water by myself, made sure I had a good gap. I put socks in both my T1 and my T2, just because if I had a good enough gap out of the water, I'd put my socks on there and not worry about it in T2. So I put my socks on and I put my shoes on. I did ride up the hill, if you saw my Instagram post. So to do that, I put my shoes on to run to the mountain line because it wasn't very far. They allowed us to put ice down our chest, so I did that, and down my back, and lost like basically all of my swim lead. Unfortunately, I was super slow. I was listening to Paula's podcast, how she didn't have like kind of that like urgency in T1 and T2, and that's exactly how I felt here. I didn't have like a ton of urgency. Definitely a learning curve there, but it was super hot and I didn't want to miss anything, so did that and started the bike. The start of the bike is like, you have to climb 2 to 3 minutes like straight up out of the country club, and then you descend down. One of the girls passed me going up the hill and then totally blocked me coming down the hill because she was all the way to the left and I was going faster on the descent. That was annoying, but got out on the open road, up the first little climb again. She passed me again, had a mechanical, blew over, so I kept going. We had another little climb and another downhill, and then onto the flat road that we would stay on basically for the rest of the time. Not long after the flat, Dee Dee passed me. I did not do the Mexican draft. I did a legal draft. Tried to stay with her as long as possible. We both hit a speed bump that was very large, and I watched her lose a bottle, and simultaneously I lost a bottle right after. Mistake number 2, even though it is impossible to get my water bottle out on a regular day, my front water bottle, on race day, it can go bouncing. So tape that bad boy up, rubber band it, whatever, so I don't make that mistake again, because that was half of my nutrition and electrolytes gone basically after like 10 miles. So lost her there. Dee Dee went off. I wasn't going to stay with her anyway. It's Dee Dee. She bikes really hard. We got out onto the highway, and it was, like I said, there was not really a lot of wind, and I was just baking already. But the fun really started after we made the turnaround. So we were told to stay to the right on the bike course. So we make the U-turn, and all of a sudden there's people riding head on into us. It was a left-handed U-turn. We're staying on the right. There's people riding head on into you. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? What is going on? What are you supposed to do? I saw that Laura Matthews was not too far behind me, so I kind of waited up and I said, what are we supposed to do? After, mind you, I've almost run into about 10 people head on. One person coming very close. We finally just pull off to the left and go to the left side. Continue on. Again, we get back on the other stretch of road. More people coming head on at us, so we go back over to the left again. The other U-turn is a right-handed U-turn. So the U-turns are opposite. Don't know how that happened, but so then people are just kind of all over the road. So we start the second lap. I'm already cooking. It is so hot. So we get back out to the same stretch of highway that is very dangerous and people kind of on either side of the road at any given point. Oh, and I forgot to mention that those big reflectors, the road reflectors, there was 2 sections of probably like hundreds of these reflectors. So you hit them 4 times. And in those sections, you're just trying to dodge them however you can. But not only that, you're also trying to dodge the people who are also weaving out in and out, trying to dodge them. That was a mess. Then like people are just crossing over the road to get to whatever aid station. We were supposed to have an aid station every 7 miles, and they were supposed to be dual-sided. So maybe like in the middle of the road, but one was on the right side and one was on the left side, and people would just pull over and park because it was so freaking hot. So that made it a little bit more difficult, and also difficult for me because I also didn't have the opportunity to refill my front bottle because my front bottle was gone. So I could just grab a Gatorade, and it's not one of the squeeze tops, so they just open the lid. It's just open, you just have to chug and toss it whenever you get to the end of the litter zone, which there wasn't any signage for the end of the litter zone. Not sure where it was. And starting the second out and back is when I saw Dee Dee on the ground. She had hit somebody who was just running across the road to pick up bottles. So after that, I decided just get through this safely without crashing into anyone, without something happening, and just be safe. I actually did not care about the time at that point because I was so terrified that I just wanted to get through the bike safely and I would figure the rest out later. Yeah, navigated the rest of the bike, but the second to last U-turn had somebody stop and unclip in front of me on the U-turn. And when we were coming back in to finish the bike there, again, that was the right-handed U-turn and we were supposed to go straight. Some age group guy just like swerved all the way to the left in front of me and stopped. Not sure why. I guess he was preparing to do the U-turn, but that was not fun, but made it into T2. I can do a flying dismount, but did not trust my body to do that. I thought I was going to cramp everywhere. So get into T2 with Laura Matthews, and basically I'm just like, okay, take your time, get everything you need, don't leave anything behind. You need your nutrition. I had loaded up my gel flask with extra electrolytes on top of the Z2 gels. I had all that prepared for me, and basically I knew at that point I just needed to run what I could and stay steady because it is blazing outside. There's no shade. The sun is beating down. You've been in the sauna already for 2.5 hours. So basically I set out at a pace, didn't really know what pace it was, and I don't know that I could even, I don't think I could go faster. So that's just what it was. And as it turns out, I basically held that same pace through the whole thing. And anytime I tried to pick up the pace a little bit, my legs would just start like my quads would feel like they start seizing up. Yeah, I mean, it was just, some people would go in front of me and then blow up, and I'd go back in front, and finally on like the second lap, other Cecilia who won passed me and I just couldn't go with her. And yeah, I think the other hard part was like for a kilometer on each lap, you had like these kind of like slick cobbles basically through the city, which it was nice because the buildings gave you shade, but it was also really hard to run on. I mean, honestly, I was just like praying for like a cloud or the sun to go down faster. It was just so blazing hot, and yeah, I've never experienced that kind of heat in my life. Yeah, like it is a good result. I got second, and I am grateful for that. And of course, I'm never gonna take for granted a podium position. It is also kind of hard because I feel like I didn't get to really race. Like the run was just, okay, survive without passing out, without a full body cramp situation and falling to the ground. So yeah, I mean, the finish line area was amazing. The podium presentation was amazing, minus the 3% champagne. That was all great, and the volunteers were amazing. But yeah, it was I think it would take a lot for me to go back to that race and do that again and put myself through that again. So overall, I mean, I guess successful weekend. I got a lot of mental toughness out of it, even if I didn't get a good like actual racing feeling out of it. So now I just am recovering through the week, light movement. Mentally, I'm just pretty tired. And then come Saturday, I will be flying to Arizona to do my last little big volume prep for Texas. And then from there, I'll come back home and finalize the prep at home before flying to real home, which is Houston. So thanks for this long-winded race recap. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you guys next week.